Good afternoon, sir.
Whoever said that we can eliminate catching the Lakers, come on.
Oh, that was
Mark,
Mike.
I believe if you lose one of these two games with 13 to go, down 3.5, it would be very tough.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be tougher, but not impossible.
Mark, when it comes to Luka and Porzingis, can you give us an idea of their relationship and how they can make each other the best player possible on the court?
Yeah, on the court they're fine. I mean, coach is coach, and coach kind of runs the show, and so everything gets worked out on the court. And that's not to say there's not dust-ups. There are. But I'd compare it really to Jet and Dirk. If you remember, when we first got Jet, Dirk was not a fan. Dirk did not like him, and we lost in a playoff series because Jet made a mistake against Nash, and that just made it even worse. And, they weren't best friends at the beginning, but they grew to like each other and grew to be great friends. And that's just part of the process when you've got young kids who are, growing up as professionals, that it just comes with the turf.
I obviously, I don't want to speak to you. Does that to insinuate that maybe those two are not best friends off the court, but you believe they could be?
Yeah, just like, look, I mean, it took forever before Dirk and Jet did anything off the court together. A long time. And, yeah, I mean, KP and Luka get along fine. It's just that they're different people. They like to do different things. And so, if one guy plays 2K and the other guy plays Overwatch, they're not going to play games together. That's just the way it works. And, if one guy likes, one thing and somebody likes something different, every now and then they'll come together to be peanut butter and chocolate, but not always.
Whenever it comes to this season, we all kind of had really high expectations for this team to take that next step beyond, okay, we're in the playoffs. Now we're a playoff contender. We can win a series. We can go and move beyond that. And you have your star. That we're looking at the future. Maybe we're a little too ahead. Do you think that you're ahead of schedule or right on schedule with a player like Luka?
Luka's ahead of schedule. I think KP's ahead of schedule. But as a team, we still have work to do because, again, we're still a young team that has to find its identity. Like when we were cooking on all cylinders and beating Denver and beating Utah, we were playing great defense. We were making shots. We were confident. And then we were overconfident, right? And then we lost games that we should have won. I can point you to 20 examples of the same thing with Dirk, Nash, and Finley. Where there were games that we should have won that we lost, and we played up to competition, but also played down to competition. And that's just part of growing as a team. It just comes with the territory. We don't have that, championship history player that is, the on the court, giving guidance to Luka and KP. They're learning that as they go on their own, and that was the choice we made.
When it comes to Luka, I was wondering this. This kind of comes from Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny, just watching a lot of TNT, is they don't believe that Luka can have the ball that much and you guys win a championship. Is that something that's changing in the NBA with the main guy having the ball that much, or do you believe that you kind of need to, throughout time, add a little bit of pressure, take pressure off of Luka having to do everything?
Yeah, I mean, if you look the way we're built right now, we're really dependent on our role players to step up and do those things, right? Because Luka does have the ball a lot, which is why when you see, him come out, JB goes in, and JB's usage rate is through the roof. And even when Luka and JB are playing together, you see JB have a high usage rate. And then you see KP have a huge usage rate as well. Because KP can get a shot off pretty much any time he wants, particularly from three. And so, we want to get somebody who can reduce some of that pressure on Luka, particularly at the end of the game. But, we've got guys who are stepping into that role right now.
We're approaching 10 years without a playoff series victory. At what point does some of that reflection go on the GM, go on the head coach, and you consider maybe that's not working?
It always goes on the owner, because at the end of the day, I'm an involved owner, and I'm not someone who just says, okay, I hired a GM, let's hope they get it right. I'm involved in everything, and pretty much all the final decisions are mine. I mean, I don't deal with playing time and stuff like that, but personnel, it all comes back to me. And so, unless I can fire myself, it really comes down to, if there's a situation where, and over my 21 years, I've had situations where we've had the right team and maybe not the right people around them, and we've made changes. And if I think that's the case, then I'll make a change. But, that's not the case now, and I don't see it being the case. We're still, one, we're in the third year kind of Luka because it hasn't been 3 normal years, and 2, we have a young team by design, and we're going to get better. And and Father Time is undefeated, so some of the players that are really on the top teams around the league are older, and our guys are younger. And sometimes you just have to build and not rush.
So when it comes to building the team for the future, and I know the season isn't over and a lot of things have to play out, when you look at future free agents or trades, if a guy really struggles to shoot the three-point shot, what do you think of those players in the NBA for your organization?
Well, I mean, it just depends on what they're good at. If you have a specific, unique skill that adds value to our team, then there's a chance, we're going to be interested in you. Now, you may not play 30 minutes a game. You may be situational. It might be like Boban. Boban's very situational, right? You can't play him every game, but when he plays, it's because the matchup is good and he can be impactful. Willie Cauley-Stein the same way. There's just certain players, J.J. Redick now, where you're not going to play them 30 minutes, but they have a role. Now, if there's a superstar that may not be a great three-point shooter, that's not going to stop us because there are a variety of ways that we can make it fit.
Mark, do you consider yourself an optimist?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, good, because my co-host Kevin just always constantly has this gray cloud hanging over him. Like he's a pessimist as far as it gets.
Oh, that's fair.
I love Mike to death, but he's looking at it from so many different angles.
Always is talking crap about us. I know.
I love him, but I am.
Real
You're
quick.
right.
To be fair, though, Mark, can I just say, you did talk a little crap about our station when you said that sports radio doesn't talk the Mavericks here in the Metroplex. We talk about y'all every hour. We've had Trey Burke on. We've had Josh Richardson on. We've had Boban on. We've had Donnie on twice. We'd love to have you more on more often.
Do is ask. I come on every time you ask.
There we go. That's
okay,
what I'm
we're going to start
about.
asking more. I'm in.
Okay.
Look, so all I can tell you, Mike, is that it worked.
Yes.
Okay. All right.